Out of all the sports teams that exist, certain countries have a big one or two, but we're proud to say our podcast is about the biggest team in the entire world.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Yeah! This is the World's Team Podcast. All about the world's team, the Dallas Cowboys, baby. We're here to redefine what it means to be a fan of the gridiron game. It's not just America's team anymore. Nope. We're taking that star-studded pride and spreading it across the globe. Each week, we dive into all things Cowboys. From game analysis that'll have you on the edge of your seat, to reactions and all the latest news. Whether it's free agency frenzy, draft day drama, or injury reports that make us want to hug our lucky jerseys a little tighter. We're bringing in fan groups from all over the place, from Germany, France, Brazil, the UK, Canada, Japan. Everybody gets to share their 2 cents on America's favorite team.
Here we go!
America's team, Mexico's team, world's team, my Dallas Cowboys.
And now your hosts, Paul Stewart and Mike Poland.
Hello, Cowboys Nation. Welcome to another episode of the World's Team. Remember, it's not just America's team. It is the World's Team. I am your host, Paul Stewart, and I am joined by, as always, my brother in arms, Mr. Mike Poland. How are we doing, bro?
Yeah, good. We're deep into All-Star season, so I'm very happy.
I bet. For anyone new here to the channel, here to the World's Team, you'll learn very quickly that Mike is in his element right now. He loves the off season. He loves scouting. So we are going to take a bit of a dive today of certain players that we actually quite are interested in this upcoming NFL draft. But before we do that, a lot of news has just happened, Mike. We've actually now officially got our defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and special teams coach to join Brian Schottenheimer.
Yes.
So I guess first we could just dive straight into it, Mike. So the Dallas Cowboys have brought in former linebacker coach for the Cowboys back, 6-7 years ago? And Matt Elbefus, who was the head coach for the Chicago Bears. He had a stint as defensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts, and he's now here back in Dallas. So, but yeah, Mike, give me your thoughts on Matt Elbefus.
I quite like the hire, actually, more than anything. Familiarity, so obviously, is the first thing. He's familiar with the place, how things work around here. But, we've spoken about this many, many times, that sometimes there are certain coaches out there that are better as coordinators than they are head coaches. And I think Eberflus is one of these guys.
Yeah, and just to name other examples, Dan Quinn being not one of them, although he's done a good job at Washington so far, but I still think he's better as a defensive coordinator, and also Wade Phillips.
Yeah, Wade Phillips. Without swearing, Jason Garrett.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, he was more of an offensive coordinator.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I'm just talking in, respective in terms of coordinators. Jason Garrett as an offensive coordinator, I think, was a lot better than he was as a head coach.
Although he didn't have a great time at the Giants.
Yeah, but it's the Giants.
It is the Giants, however. Sorry, Giants, but man, you're in a worse state than we are. Sorry.
And that's saying something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat as you, mate. Like, I'm pretty happy with it, with the Elbefus. I know there's been a bit of a mixed reaction just because how bad of a bad job he did as a head coach in Chicago, and I can understand like people that really don't know Matt Elbefus per se, but when you look how defensively the Chicago Bears were, they were still a really good squad defensively. Their problem was their offense. And when you look at how Elbefus was back in Indianapolis, he did a really great job there.
Yeah.
Had him like a top 10 defense under his tenure as defensive coordinator. And obviously, when he was our linebacker coach at the time, we had the likes of Sean Lee. We had probably one of the best linebacking cores, despite like Sean Lee might have been getting injured in that, but we've always managed to maintain a good, respectable defense, especially in that linebacker core under Elbafus. So I think having him back as our DC is a really good move, personally.
Yeah, I do too. As well, when you think about how he's going to have the defensive line, certainly kind of helps this roster because the design of it fits some of the weaknesses that this roster has on defense.
Like stopping the run, for example. If we're going back to that 4-3 defense, cover 2,
Yeah.
I think that's definitely going to help massively for this defense, for sure. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
But speaking, I know that you mentioned like defensive line. We've also got our new defensive line coach, which is Aaron Whitecotton. Is it Whitecotton? Yeah, Aaron Whitecotton.
Yeah.
So Aaron Whitecotton was the defensive end coach for the New York Jets. Again, the Jets overall as a team were pretty bad, but defensively were really good. So, and the one thing I do like about Whitecotton in particular, he's a very no nonsense type of coach. If you actually watch any of the Jets games, like either through red zone and stuff like that, and see some of the clips of him talking to his defensive players, he lets them have it if they messed up or not. And it's not. And from what I could tell, and we'll get to know more about Aaron as the coming weeks, and when we get to see him in Dallas. I think he's one of these type of coaches. He's not afraid to pull players out if they're not performing well and let someone else get the opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen that in the Jets. And, like you say, you talk about the Jets, okay, yeah, it's bad. What was going on there? Defense, not bad, but more specifically, the defensive line was pretty good, when you look at that.
And also, and I think this is just my opinion on this, but with Whitecotton now on board, I think that increases our chances to re-sign Carl Lawson again, because obviously Lawson's worked with him before.
I like that.
Yep. I think that's
the dots.
We're all trying to connect the dots. So just for all of our viewers and listeners, this show is all about connecting the dots. How do 25 Cowboys, which remains like a mystery as of right now. But we're trying to build the picture how things are going to work. Trying to get our thoughts, feelings behind it, what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. So, but also we've also brought in Dave Borgonzi. Borgonzi, sorry, I do apologize. Our new linebacker coach coming from the Chicago Bears, and we brought in Andre Curtis, also the Chicago Bears, as our new safeties coach. So very interesting there. And obviously, as the time of this recording, we've now got our brand new offensive coordinator, and that is Clayton Adams, who was the former offensive line coach for the Arizona Cardinals. That to me is I don't know what to make of it. It's a surprise, if I'm being honest with you, mate. But I'm very intrigued to see how that's going to go forward. But I'm sure you will agree with me on this. With him being an offensive line coach, this to me is obviously we're going to be heavy deep when it comes to the draft, comes to drafting offensive linemen and running back.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like we already know with the Schottenheimer offense, if you go back to Seattle, what that looks like. We kind of know. Running the ball, a lot of play action involved in that, which Cowboys fans last season was screaming for that. Well, you're about to get it. You're about to get it a lot. Then you add Clayton to the mix and you go offensive line. Then you look at when he was with the other teams, the offenses, Indianapolis Colts, Arizona, you think that the running backs that they had and the way the offensive lines work, you go, okay, I can see what you're doing there. And then all of a sudden you think, well, then surely with this being the case, with the way things are going, when you look at the positions that they're filling with the types of coaches that are out there, I'm with you. Offensive line, running back, most certainly is going to be a big thing. You know, how much push he will get. I think he's going to be more of like what Schottenheimer was to Mike McCarthy. That Schottenheimer's going to be calling the plays. He's going to be running the offense on game day. Whereas Clayton's going to be the guy that deals with the day-to-day stuff
Yeah.
and implementing what it is Schottenheimer wants. So that's why I think he's gone for an ex-offensive line coach, because he's going to be like, this is what I want to be pushing. Now go out there and sort that out for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And like I said though, mate, like it's we're trying to connect the dots here, and for us to bring an offensive line coach to be our OC, it kind of strengthens the logic that we would be looking more into getting a running back early or more offensive lineman early per se. And if there's one thing in this draft, in particular running back, it's really strong this year in the draft. You can get running backs, a really good running back from first round, from like a Gentry, to even going down to like the fourth rounds, maybe even the fifth rounds.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
and when you look at all the statistics and in terms of the PFF scores and watching the game footage, a lot of them have some amazing traits. A lot of them are very elusive. There's not many of the running backs out there, I would say, are that power back type of style that we're kind of accustomed to, like Zeke was and how Emmett was. But there's definitely a lot more elusive running backs out there. So, but it'll be very interesting to see.
That's how college football has kind of gone. It's lighter backs, same as linebackers. We always talk about, we need that thumper linebacker. It doesn't really exist anymore. Linebackers are turned into that speedier off-ball guys.
Yeah, I think the only type of thumper type of style linebacker almost that style would have been LVE.
Yeah,
Like
the
that's
closest.
I think like from my memory in terms of those type of linebackers,
I agree.
because I think the most prominent one was that Chicago Bears linebacker, Bernd Urlacher. That's probably the best one you can think of, and that and Ray Lewis.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's the two. That's the two thumping type of linebackers I can really think of the top of my head. I mean, I'm not saying LVE was like those guys, but in terms of
but in
it's the style, exactly.
And the shame with LVE is I totally agree with you. And if you put LVE in a 3-4 defense as that thumper linebacker, you're talking about a different linebacker. You imagine that'd be crystal.
Oh God, yeah, it's just a shame he had to retire due to injuries and just and understandably, like we said, he's still one of my fan favorites to me.
Yeah,
and I had the pleasure of talking to him way back in 2018 when I was there for the Cowboys documentary I was doing. Fantastic guy. Wanted to know more about me and how I got into football, how I became a Cowboys fan, and when I showed him my jersey, the team who I played for, the East Kilbride Pirates, it was like, I didn't realize American football was that well globally received and other teams were playing it. It's like, I was like, dude, you have no idea. Germany is really big for American football. The UK is as well. And even like countries like in Serbia and Spain, etc., like they're trying to revamp the whole European League again. So
trying.
I mean, it's getting there, but not up to the same capacity it was like the NFL Europe back in the 90s.
Yeah, but that was doomed to fail, unfortunately.
Sadly. It went off. It kicked off fantastically, but it really died down very quickly.
Yeah, very. It didn't take long.
But I think it was like a good 8 or 9 years we had it, pretty much. 10 at a push.
Yeah, I don't think it was that far.
It started roughly about 1994, and most of the teams folded roughly about 2002, 2003.
Yeah, round about then. That sounds about right. Romo is always how I remember it. Romo joined the team, joined Dallas around about that time.
Yeah. But going back to the main topics, Mike.
Let's get back.
Yep. So obviously we just kind of talked about Clayton Adams as our OC. We're kind of thinking where the direction of our offense might be going. But also we haven't mentioned yet Nick Sorensen, who is now our new special teams coordinator. So Sorensen obviously had a stint as a defensive coordinator before with San Francisco 49ers, and he had a spell at the Jacksonville Jaguars as the special teams coach. This is the one I'm not so sure of, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, Mike. Like, just based on he's been jumping as different coordinator roles, not in a more consistent format like Bones Faso is. Like, Bones Faso is just purely special teams.
Yeah.
Like,
I see what you're going. Yeah. Okay.
Like, and also the fact that last time he did have that gig as special teams coordinator, the Jacksonville Jaguars were ranked 31st overall in special teams. So it's not a great sign to look at when you're looking from that perspective. But it really depends on the personnel that you've got in that roster to really make up that rankings better. And luckily for us, as of right now, we've got one of the best kickers in the NFL right now. We've got some really good special teams players. Things may actually work in his fortune in that way. So I'm trying to find the hopeful optimism in this hire, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you want to go for more optimism, a good place to go to as well is that there's familiarity again, but this is time it's with Schottenheimer because they spent time together in Seattle, so there's already a relationship there, an understanding. Again, with any of these, coaching appointments, like with Bones, it was more obvious. You were kind of like, okay, I get it, I like that. All right, cool, I'm all up for that. With this one. Yeah, I mean, assistant special teams, a lot of assistants in there, then special teams coordination in Jacksonville, as you mentioned. So you kind of like go, okay, but let's see where we go. You've already mentioned the big one. The big thing is he's got Brandon Aubrey.
Yeah.
With any special teams coordinator to sit there and go, I could really jump on a good foot here because I've got Brandon Aubrey, like him smashing records whilst I'm stood there with the clipboard looks really good on my resume.
Yeah, and obviously we kind of heard just recently with Brandon Aubrey being on, I can't remember what show it was on. I don't know if it was a podcast or radio, but basically the Bones Faso said he was like, obviously he's now joined the Titans.
Yeah.
Like, Faso said he's tried to contact Brandon Aubrey and find about trading for Brandon Aubrey. So that will be hopefully that does not happen because Brandon Aubrey, from me, he's here to stay. I'm sorry, Titans, he's ours.
Yeah, and I think loyalty as well. With when you think Aubrey's come from a very low point, Cowboys gave him his shot.
And he took it with both arms. Sorry, both legs.
Both legs, yeah, with both feet. And, you look at that and you think, surely, that's got to go somewhere for him, for Aubrey, and be like, sorry, I don't want to. I've got some loyalty here. I know money talks, but I'm just trying to be optimistic as well.
And rightly so, man. Rightly so. But yeah, I'm just trying. So we still have a few other positions to fill up. We've also re-signed
London
Wells.
Wells. Yeah, London Wells. And Will McClay.
And Will McClay. So that's good news. Linda Wells deserves to still to be here. I like the job he's been doing. Like, I think obviously this season alone, just obviously with Ferguson getting injured. In case anyone doesn't know, Linda Wells is our tight ends coach. So that whole rumor of Jason Witten coming is probably lately not going to happen no more. So we can put that to rest, I think. But the fact that last season it's just been so unfortunate with Ferguson getting injured, like just a little bit inconsistency from the players, like being dropping in and out. So I just kind of think if we have a full strength tight end group, I think we can get back to what we were back in 2023.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. They just, I think a big one with Will McClay is, it goes, people talk about, the last couple of drafts. Will McClay is kind of just the guy working to their demands.
He's like the unofficial GM in some way, but he's
Yeah.
but he is like the head scout at the same time. It's a weird job title he has, but he is
that is true.
he is vitally important. Don't get me wrong, like, and we've had the conversation not on person, but on the UK Cowboys fans. We've had Will McClay on that show, and we've asked him a couple of questions. A really lovely guy, etc. But the thing is that the past couple of seasons, when it comes to the draft, we've had a lot more misses than hits. So hopefully, and also and obviously Stephen Jones at the Senior Bowl, basically kind of like media meetings and stuff like that. He did say like, even though we didn't do enough, but I think we do need to do a change basically among those words, and we probably will expect to be a bit more active in free agency. But at my personal opinion, I'll believe it when I see that. If I'm being honest, like, it just really depends who's there and does it make sense. And it's up to Steven and Jerry to fix that salary cap in order to bring these players in the first place.
Yeah. I'm with you. He's an important figure because he's basically the center of the triangle. So you've got the Joneses family over here, you've got the coaches over here, and the scouts over here, and Will McClay is smack bang in the middle, bouncing in between them all.
Yeah,
trying to get everything right.
Yep, totally agree with you. Like, don't get me wrong, it's been a tough season just in general. Lack of free agency, a little bit hit and miss in the draft last year, and obviously the injuries. So it's been a really tough year for Will McClay to deal with that. But hopefully things might turn in our fortune. Like, and I'm trying to think of all the optimism as much as I can be, even though I am still annoyed about the whole process of the appointment of Shotty, and I'm willing to give him every opportunity. And we can't criticize Brian Schottenheimer as of yet because we haven't seen him be it as a head coach, so we can't put that label on him yet. So,
true.
And in order to get Brian Schottenheimer to succeed, we need Will McClay and our front office to be more active, like more than ever before.
Especially in free agency.
And especially when you really think about it, Mike, how many players do we have about to become free agents within the Cowboys? Is it like 22?
Like it's like half.
22, 23?
Yeah.
That includes Rico Dowdle, Trey Lance, Cooper Rush, like a lot of players. Kendricks is going to be a free agent. Are we likely going to re-sign him back? It really depends. It's a lot of it is question marks right now. We're in uncharted territory right now as Cowboys Nation right now. So we're just going to have to wait and see how things develop. But as things stand right now, when you look at how the coaching staff has been formed right now, there's a little bit of excitement in terms of, okay, that it looks as though we are going back to the run, which is great. Something we've been craving for quite a while.
Yeah. I mean, they were screaming for it last year, Cowboys fans, and I see the same. I envision the same direction as you're thinking, Paul.
Yeah, but speaking about like the NFL draft, it would be cruel not to talk about the NFL draft and like the Senior Bowl and Shrine Bowl, etc. So hit me with it, Mike. Has there been any players? Obviously, the day of this recording, we're actually recording right before the Senior Bowl happens.
Yeah.
So we do apologize. So we may be out of sync in terms of that. But in terms of players that you do like, Mike, hit me with it. Is there any players in certain positions that really stand out to you?
In the Senior Bowl or the Shrine Bowl? Because I know the Shrine Bowl, we've had the Shrine Bowl. Both. I mean, so the Shrine Bowl, let's start off with a guy who wasn't even on my board and is about to go on my board, is Arizona running back Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. This dude had an insane Shrine Bowl. I was like, who is this guy? I had to go just like ripping through pages to try and find out why he wasn't on my list. So the reason he's not on my list.
What was the school he was at?
Arizona.
Arizona, not Arizona State, where Cam Scatterbo, different Arizona.
Arizona,
gotcha.
yeah.
Right, gotcha.
And he's very light. He's like, so I had to go and check. He's like running back, mind, 200 pound, like 5'9". So he's a dinky guy.
So yeah, he's like just below your recommendation. You want your running backs to be like 5'11", 6 foot.
Yeah, like 5'10", 5'11" is nice. You know, you want them to be like a bowling ball. So that and like 220 pound is nice. Do you know what I mean? Because they can absorb those blows. So yeah, he did that, but had only 11 carries, right? But went for 97 yards. He was averaging like 9 yards a carry. Broke a couple of big runs, like a 13-yard run, 26-yard run, and you were just like, wow. More than anything for me, what was impressive with him, it wasn't the burst, it was the vision. You could just see that he was seeing it develop and he was seeing it happen, super patient. And I was just like, this guy's on my board. I mean, he's done it. This guy for me is in there. And another running back who impressed in the Shrine Bowl is a guy me and you have already talked about that we both ironically seen the same thing as Taj Brooks. Had a really good Shrine Bowl.
From Texas Tech. Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Like,
well, I mean, hit me with it. What you like with him?
I like the fact he's very convincing. Like, not the word convincing. I'm trying to find the right word to use here. Like, he's not like Le'Veon Bell per se, but in terms of reading how the O-line is creating the gaps, he will steamroll into that gap as quickly as possible. And next thing you know, he is off. He is gone to the races. So he has that good level of anticipation, I think, from the initial snap of the ball. Yeah. So I think that's really good to football IQ in that regard. But yeah, I mean, when you look at his statistics as well, like, it speaks for itself. Let me just get his stats right now, actually, while I'm at it.
While you do that, I mean, like, you know, we were just talking about stockier, heavier running backs.
Yes.
You know, Taj Brooks is like 230 pound, 5'10".
Yes, yeah, you're right. So he's 230 pounds, 5'10". He's 22 years of age, sorry. And wait till I tell you this, folks. 2024 total rushing yards 1,512, averaging 5.3 yards per carry, and 17 touchdowns this year. Then obviously 2023, 10 touchdowns, same yards per average, and just 1,547 yards in 2023. So you're seeing that consistently. And not to mention, this year, you only played 11 games.
Yeah. And here's the crazy bit. Then you've seen it in the Shrine Bowl, is that he's this big bulldozer. You know, we just talked about bowling balls. This dude is a bowling ball. But what's really cool with him is he's a bowling ball that will curl. If that makes any sense, he's got some agility to him. That he's not just this one straight line guy or just a one cut back and that's it. He's got some pins for a guy of that size.
Yep. And to back my point about anticipation in terms of Taj Brooks, even PFF, I've graded them a gap grade of 84 out of 100. Which is really impressive. So they can. So if that's one thing I will give PFF their credit for is how they do some gradings on certain players, especially like running back and offensive linemen. I think they do their gradings quite well on that.
Yeah. I mean, like we spoke about cornerback being a need. Watching Kobe Bryant from Kansas.
Yeah, and I believe as of right now, Kobe Bryant is. We're not talking about the basketball player, and
yeah. But his father named him after him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yep. So I believe in terms of the current rankings of people how I've graded Kobe Bryant right now, he's roughly going to be like a day 3 guy.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Early mind. So the Cowboys, if they do want to get him, they'd have to go early because they don't have a 4th-round pick. But yeah, he definitely is. He's gonna get. He is a guy who's perfectly aligned to develop very, very quickly in the NFL and very quickly get a starting job. He's that way in. I mean, the dude had 8 pick six. Wait, is it pick sixes? Hold on.
I'll get statistics right now for you.
I'm trying to think. I've written it down somewhere, so I remember.
No,
I think
I'll
it's
get it. I'll get it for you, dude. I'll
8
get it for you.
interceptions. 8 interceptions in the last 2 seasons. So that can't be sniffed at. It's not pick sixes. I would remember that. I think he had one pick six and 8 interceptions.
No, so 2024, 4 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. So you had 2 pick sixes this year.
Yeah.
Same again with the year before, and
yeah.
in 2022 had 2 pick sixes and 3 interceptions. So
yeah.
So 11 interceptions and 6 pick sixes in
That's
total.
what I was trying to think.
Yeah. So don't worry, I've got you, dude.
It's like I'm trying to remember the numbers on these guys.
And you know what the really interesting part about his grading right now? His run defense grade as a cornerback is through the freaking roof. It's 91.3.
It's not bad.
and not just that, is like when you look at his other grades in terms of coverage, man coverage, and zone coverage, it's well above the average. It's like 76, 71, and 74. Still really good grades. And it makes you kind of wonder, it's like, if he's been given so many good grades, why is he kind of being given like a 5th round, 6th round grade, essentially? And I'm looking at the teams he played this year, like West Virginia, had one of his best games. TCU had a really good game. Houston, he had a good game. One of his worst games was against Arizona State and Las Vegas. So it's about, which is a weird one. But in terms, it seems to be he seems to rise up to the more bigger challenges. But it comes to the teams that are, you don't really anticipate, you expect to beat in a way.
Yeah,
he doesn't perform as much. So I think that's kind of why he may have been like, well, maybe not so much Kobe Bryant himself, but in terms of how the Kansas City Jayhawks kind of operate in a way. So
yeah. I mean, another position we spoke about was defensive end.
Right. This is where I come in.
Yeah.
This is where. So there's 2 guys.
Yeah, go on.
There's 2 guys I'm keeping a very close attention. I know one of them. I don't think we're ever going to get a shot of this guy, and that is Mike Green from Marshall. I already mentioned him probably like last week's show, possibly.
Yeah.
But oh my God, I am loving Mike Green from Marshall. What he did in the practice sessions at the Senior Bowl, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Bull rushed the guy, sent him 2-3 yards way back, and made him do roly-polies, pretty much. The other guy I'm really interested in, and it's a much smaller school, and he's getting a lot of hype right now, is David. Oh, God, I keep doing this, mate. I keep doing this.
Oh, come on now. Walker?
Yes.
David
Why
Walker,
is it so hard for me to say Walker?
I was trying to go through. I was running in my head. I was like, small school.
I am literally
defensive line.
I'm literally having a brain fart right now. My brain is just literally farting away right now. Like,
it's all right. I got you, bro. I got you.
Literally, I don't know how many times I've said David Walker, and every time I'm about to pronounce his name properly, I end up my mind goes blank. So David Walker from Central Arkansas. Look him up, folks. He's got the tools. He's got this. He's got basically every trick up the sleeve that comes to be a really good defensive end. The only thing that's going down from him is based of where he's playing at right now. Yeah. That's it. Same could be said for Mike Green, but from what he's been doing at the Senior Bowl practices, everyone's now talking about him becoming a 1st-round draft pick right now.
He's
potentially
blown up. Yeah, he's in my. I think he's on my board. He's about 15th, so he's just outside. He's that cheetah grade range, the 1-2 range.
Yeah.
Um,
He's not a top 10, but he's definitely going to be a
no.
first rounder.
Oh yeah. He's worked his way into that without a doubt at the Senior Bowl. Another defensive end at the Senior Bowl that's really, really shown off in practices is Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M.
Right. Okay. I like this one. Like personally, because I like the fact that he has my same surname, and I would love the fact that I could just walk about with my own jersey. But it would be so funny if he had the number 78, because that's my number.
Your number. Yeah.
That was the number I played when I played for the Pirates. And if we were to draft like Shamar Stewart and he ends up getting number 78, I've saved myself about $150. So I'm all good there,
Can you imagine though he takes a number that's like one digit out? He's like
79 or something like that. Oh God, I'd be raging. Everyone
so close.
But here's the thing: if I was to walk about an AT&T Stadium wearing number 78, can you imagine the amount of Cowboys, fellow Cowboys fans, is like, dude, you've got the wrong number.
Yeah,
it's like, no, that's my number. It's actually I've had this jersey before we drafted him. Like, I'll probably have to explain that to everyone. If that was to happen. So
and people will be taking photos, and then you're going to be a meme.
Oh God, I'll probably end up being a meme or something like that.
Yeah.
But then they'll realize, like, it's like, oh wait, his actual name is Stewart.
Yeah. But I mean, sticking with Senior Bowl, because I was just doing Shrine Bowl, guys. I mean, let's go to Senior Bowl. Cornerback who I've really liked this week is Juanye Thomas's little brother, Azaria Thomas. Blown the practices up big time. Dude has looked really good. I mean, like, a lot of people are talking about Shiloh Sanders and, like, how he's been, and I'm just like, I kind of expected a lot of it. Sanders is good in terms of that he's a hard-hitting quarterback. He's that guy that if he hits you, it's coming. But other than that, you're kind of like, like, what are the traits you're hanging your hat on with him? Thomas, on the other hand, is savvy. He knows who he's up against, and you see he's using the intellect. We've spoken to Juanye Thomas. We know he's a really intelligent and smart guy. I just get the feeling that Azaria is the same.
Yeah.
He's that same smart type of I'm So that's another guy I like. Ollie Gordon. I've said it. I'm on record.
Yes. Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma. Yes.
Yeah, Oklahoma State.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm on record of saying that the combine, he's going to look and test better than Ashton Gianti. I'm telling you he's going to.
Okay, so let me just repeat that for the viral clip. Right. So hit me with it, mate. What is your bold prediction for Ollie Gordon?
That he will test better than Ashton Gianti. And when he does, his board is going to fly up, and questions are then going to be asked about Gianti.
There you have it, folks. Leave a like and add your comments below if you agree with Mike or not. Let's see.
I'm in now. I'm on record, mate. Fully on record.
Oh, don't you worry. That is getting clipped. That's going to be our short video for this week for sure. Okay. But yeah, speaking about like some running backs, like I'm liking like a Caleb Johnson from Iowa. I like him as well. But going back to like the offensive line, we spoke about this guy a lot. Like West Virginia offensive lineman Wyatt Millam.
Yeah,
I like him a lot,
and he's been on fire in the practices as well.
And this is where things get interesting for the Cowboys. He's not going to be there when we're in the second round. He's going to be gone.
Yeah,
so I think if it might be of a reach if we were to trade back and get him. It just really depends how you see these players more than anything. Like, we're just going based on how everyone else has graded them. Like the Cowboys before, and like any other NFL team, they have their own gradings on players. So for all we know, Wyatt Millam might be number one priority. Who knows? Like, it's like everyone keeps talking about, like, when we drafted CeeDee Lamb, like the Cowboys had CeeDee Lamb as the number one wide receiver in that draft. ahead of Henry Ruggs and
Mm,
what's his face that went to Denver.
yeah, yeah. I can see him as well. Played Alabama. Yeek. J.
Jerry Judy.
Jerry Judy. There we go. There
Yeah,
we go. On the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I was just what you were saying there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of, like, I already mentioned about him last week also, and be sure to go and check him out, folks. Really sturdy offensive lineman. I'm also looking at, like, I want to see more of this guy though. Like, and I don't think he's actually part of the Senior Bowl, if I'm being perfectly honest, or the Shrine Bowl. Is Luke Kendra, the guard from Cincinnati. That's one guy I'm very interested. I need to watch more video of him. He's a right guard. Something that it might need to be a must, depending on what happens with Zach Martin.
Then check out Willie Lampkin.
I will do that.
Yeah, that's another guy to look at. But if you're sticking with offensive line at the Senior Bowl, and you're kind of thinking, we're in the second round and damn, we've gone and missed Wyatt Miller, the guy that we wanted. Then you've got Josh Conley Jr. from Oregon, another guy who's perfectly fine.
And Dre Zabel from North Dakota State, really good guy there.
Yeah, really good.
And if you want to go and much more further later into the draft, I think you can always get like Anthony Belton from North Carolina State.
Yeah, Anthony Belton I quite like. I was watching tape on him. So on Thursday, before I had Lorne like messaging saying, "Oh, this, that, and the other about getting on for the show." That's who I was actually watching.
Yeah. And here's another thing, and I don't think we've actually talked about this. I already mentioned the fact that when it comes to our free agency in terms of who's going to be getting let go, we've only got Dak Prescott and Will Greer.
Yeah,
because Cooper Rush is going to be a free agent. Trey Lance will be a free agent. Is this now the opportunity to draft a new backup quarterback?
Yeah. But I mean, look, here's a guy who had a really good Shrine Bowl, because we can talk about that because we haven't watched the Senior Bowl yet. Was Syracuse's Cal McCord?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. He's definitely a guy to go and watch. He's transfer, unfortunately. I think he's a guy who's more than likely going to go in the day 2 range, like round 3.
Round 3, round 4. Yeah.
So do the Cowboys really want to push a backup quarterback that early? As I think not. I think if they do go and get
fifth round, like with the number of 5th round draft picks we've got, I think we've got like 3 or 4 5th round draft picks this year. But I would be more than happy if McCord's there in the 5th round. I would take him, if I'm being honest. Because and looking at statistics, he's had a fantastic year this season for Syracuse. 4,760 yards, 34 touchdowns, 12 interceptions with a passer rating of 101. Yeah, like he's looking good. And in terms of his grades, in terms of passing grade, he is 89.1. His deep grade, like throwing the deep ball, is nearly 100. It's at 97.4. I think that's the highest grade of all the deep grades of all quarterbacks in this just draft, I believe. I could be wrong, but I'll need to double check that. But as far as I'm aware, that's the highest I've seen.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, other than that, I mean, Senior Bowl guys. I mean, Jackson Dart has kind of been a guy that he's been talking about.
That's a lot. Yeah, we've seen a lot of talk about Jackson Dart. Could be a guy in maybe the 6th, with our last pick if he's there available. But we just need to wait and see what happens. But yeah, folks, let us know in the comments. Is there any players that you're interested in this year's NFL draft? Do you think we will go for Gentry? Do you think we'll trade back? We would love to hear your thoughts within Cowboys Nation. What should the Cowboys do? Should we draft offensive lineman first, running back first, maybe even wide receiver? If Luther's there in the first round, is it too hard to pass up? We may never know. Let us know in the comments, folks. But before we do move on, We will be back in one moment after this short commercial, because the last segment is, unfortunately, it breaks my heart, is talking about this upcoming Super Bowl. So we'll be back with you in one moment, folks.
Yep.
The World's Team Podcast is brought to you by Cowboys Experience. The ultimate Cowboys experience with stadium tours, meet and greets, tailgating, game tickets, and much more. For more information, please go to www.cowboysexperience.com.
Yeah, be sure to go to cowboysexperience.com. Use the discount code WorldsTeam2024. Obviously, now going into the 2025 season, we will get the more updated discount code for you once it's available. But yeah, so to finish off this week's episode, we do have to talk about this upcoming Super Bowl. We do, unfortunately. Because obviously, we would like to have had Washington and Buffalo being in the Super Bowl. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
It did not happen. Both of our dreams of that happening, well, I wouldn't say dreams, but our more favorable Super Bowl did not happen. And we're stuck with a repeat of a couple of years ago. And you're either going to have to cheer for the Kansas City Chiefs to win their fourth Super Bowl with their third Super Bowl possibly in a row, which will break the record of most consecutive, or we can see the Philadelphia Eagles win another one. And I do not want that whatsoever, Mike.
No.
I do not want to see Nick Sirianni giving that whole tough guy, Philly tough guy look, like as if he's like pure king of the world. That would just make my stomach churn, you know?
Yeah, and you think the last time the Eagles won a Super Bowl, we were together. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
I know. No, they didn't win it though.
Did they? Oh no, wait. Yes. So that was the year before. Yes, it was. That was the year before.
No,
and then we were together.
Yeah,
then we were together in Glasgow.
That was the one in Glasgow was the Rams in Cincinnati, and the
Rams
year
in
after,
Cincinnati, year
and
before,
then,
and then the year after.
the year after. It was the year after.
No. I was thinking, I was going backwards. I was like, the year before was that one, and then the year after was when they lost.
Yeah, and when the Eagles won the lot, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl is when Brady was still. What was it? Yeah, it was against the Patriots, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
because they tried to do the Philly special.
Yeah, that's right. Oh God, What is it with Philly with these daft bloody crazy plays, man? It's damn nothing. Like tush push and Philly special. Oh. I can't stand them, mate. I really can't.
No, and look, here's the way it goes. Is I hate to say this, is that I'm about to say it, is no team has ever done it, but I do want I want the Chiefs to win it, and it's going to be horrible. You're going to have
Taylor Swift.
The Taylor Swift fans,
sorry,
doing his thing, and
I'm going to say sorry to one of our good friends, Meg Murray and Kelsey Charles. I'm sorry, and Jess Navarez.
And Jess, don't forget Jess.
I'm sorry, but I cannot stand the whole media frenzy of that shenanigans. I'm sorry, amazing singer, but I just want to watch football. I don't want to watch that whole charade or whatever that is. So, yeah. But I agree, mate. I want Kansas to win. Like, for reason being, they were originally the Dallas Texans. They were the first. They were the first Dallas football team, essentially.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
But yeah, but because of the pure dominance thing, it feels like what it was like hating on Manchester United, but in the English Premier League X amount of years ago, they were always winning it, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Now it's Manchester City, now it's Liverpool. Like it's like when teams are on that consistency of winning all the time, not unless you're a supporter of those teams, but if you don't like those teams, you hate them even more. So, but regardless, I always keep saying this: anyone but the Eagles.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a tough watch. It is. Some of the guys have asked, they're like, oh, what are we gonna do for the Super Bowl? Because me and you, Jamie and the guys, we always try to do something for that.
Well, I can't this year, obviously, because I am literally flying out pretty much immediately right after the Super Bowl. So
yeah,
I need to be at the airport for 6 o'clock in the morning. So that's not going to happen. But yeah, but like we said, folks, what do you think about the Super Bowl? Are you happy? But are you excited for it? What do you expect the scoreline to be? In fact, we'll do a score prediction next week, Mike. And
we got time for that.
Yeah,
we'll just give our immediate initial reaction.
Yeah, and also we've got the Pro Bowl to cover for next week as well.
Yeah.
So we've got the Pro Bowl. We've got Micah Parsons, Tyler Smith, Brandon Aubrey, and CeeDee Lamb part of the Pro Bowl as well.
I believe he is.
Yeah, I think it's just and Turpin as well.
Yes.
So I think we've got those 5 guys there. Not the burger chain. I do apologize. It's not that I'm talking about. I'm talking about those 5 individual players. So there we go. But yeah, so keep a close eye. Watch the festivities of the Pro Bowl. There could be some potential free agents who are Pro Bowlers that might actually make their way next year. Who knows? But it's always fun to watch. But yeah, that is the end of this week's show. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share it, send us some love, send us your comments, let us know what you think of the show, let us know about your thoughts about how the Cowboys are doing right now in terms of what you think about the coaching staff, what we should do in the draft. We would love to hear your feedback on everything Cowboys. And not just that, wherever you are across the world, if you're from the US, you're from Canada, like our good friends from Cowboys Can Fan, our friends from Germany, and other parts all across the world, we would love to hear your thoughts. But yes, folks, that is the end of this week's show. But before we do, Mike, please tell everyone where everyone can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Kenfig Cowboy. That's Kenfig with a K, Cowboy with a K. And what about you, Mr. P?
I am P Stu on X and Instagram. But like I said, folks, that's the end of this week's show. We will be back next week, and we'll have plenty more to cover. We'll cover more of the players' standouts from the Shrine Bowl. We'll cover over obviously what happened at Pro Bowl, and hopefully find out if there's any more acquisitions to the coaching staff. So a lot more to cover.
Do you know what, Paul? We'll try and get a special guest.
Oh, yeah. We do have that lined up as well, folks. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. All we can say is officially it's on the DallasCowboys.com official channels. So be sure to check that out, folks. All right. So, but yeah, folks, we'll see you guys next week. And as always, it's not just America's team. It is the world's team. See you guys next week. Have a good one.
You've been listening to the World's Team Podcast. There's no other team like it in the world. Nothing more electrifying than the Dallas Cowboys. And we're here to prove it. We bring in fan groups from Germany, France, Brazil, the UK, Canada, Japan. We're everywhere, baby. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, find us on Instagram at the.worlds.team, on Twitter at _worlds_team, and on YouTube at the Worlds Team. How about them Cowboys?
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
See you next time.